noches, good night everyone. Acá estamos de vuelta. Hoy tenemos dos super recontra archi mega talentosos, multifacéticos invitados. Estamos hablando del señor Elvis Stojko y la señora Gladys Orozco, que son, la verdad, no sé cómo voy a hacer con el tiempo porque tienen tanto para contar. Gente tan dedicada, tan talentosa, con tantas disciplinas y tanto arte que han desarrollado a lo largo de su carrera, que la verdad que es un honor que los tenga con nosotros. I'm going to speak in English now. Welcome everybody. Good night. I'm having the honor to have two wonderful guests, super talented, multifaceted. The careers is just unbelievable. I don't know how I'm going to manage the time to ask them so many questions because there's so many subjects they can speak about. So it's an honor and a pleasure, and I'm very thankful for both of them to join me tonight. I'm going to invite tonight these wonderful guests. We have Elvis Stojko and Gladys Orozco, and it's an absolute pleasure to have them on board.
Hey, hello! Cheers! Salud!
Salud!
Salud! I'm like English, Spanish. Finally, we have a Latin person here that can speak Spanish with. Hola, Gladys.
That's the Latin one. My Spanish is very limited.
Oh, yeah? You don't speak much Spanish?
Poquito. Suficiente.
He understands a lot though, so you could probably ask him a few questions in Spanish.
Where she's from in Monterey, she talks super fast like a machine gun, so it's like brrr, so it's hard for me to pick that up, and she doesn't have a lot of patience with me learning, so.
So I know. Well, with Nick is the same. Like in Argentina, we speak super fast, so yeah. He can understand the majority, but actually he understands better in Mexico than in Argentina, because besides Monterrey, they speak a little bit more clear and more colloquial than we do. Mm-hmm. So how are you guys? How is this quarantine treating you?
Very busy, actually.
Yeah, it's loosened up a little bit the last week or so. I just got on the ice last week for a couple hours. It's very limited in Canada right now, but we've been busy just landscaping outside. My dad was a landscaper, so we're cleaning up around the house, spending time with the dogs, spending time with Gladys. We've been doing lots of stuff together. So
cleaning the house, organizing, paperwork,
stuff that you don't usually get a chance to do. So it's been good. I'm working out like crazy, doing a lot of classes online for acting and voice work, prepping some projects that I want to get off the ground. Hopefully, when this thing lifts. There's some stuff lifting now. Eastern Canada lifted, so they're starting to do some more entertainment, doing production. I know in the States, a couple spots, LA, Nevada, Georgia, a few places are slowly opening up. And because everyone's watching Netflix and Crave and everything, they're running out of content. So when this opens up, it's going to have auditions and stuff. So I'm just preparing for that.
That's really cool. So you went full out into acting now.
Yeah, it's something that, people that know me know it's been in my life, most of my life. I started acting at a young age, around 9 or 10 years old, at a school that they were just, the guy who ran the school always did plays. And from the little kids right up to grade 8, we were doing plays every year, singing and acting on stage, of course, amateur style. And then later on, I started getting into it in a few movies. Even on the latter half of my career in skating, I got picked up to be a hockey player or whatever. And I actually really, really enjoyed it. Did some work with Robin Williams on the movie Death to Smoochie. Danny DeVito wanted me to choreograph a skating scene with him and with Edward Norton. So that was a real, hands-on thing that was phenomenal. And I just love being around it. And then now with the skating kind of, on the side and here now being pulled back to Canada when we moved back a few years ago, it just more and more of it here. And they're shooting so much in Toronto that there's lots of auditions. So I love doing it. It's my passion. And it's a lot easier on the body than skating all the time.
I know, right? You can move into that. Do you like to act, Gladys, as well?
I'm not like Elvis into the script acting, but I do have to do a lot of acting for commercials because I model, but modeling is not just fashion. There's like commercial modeling, there's beauty modeling, there is like catalog modeling, editorial modeling, like there's some hand modeling, feet modeling, like there's so many things. But one of the main things that I do is I have to speak in front of the camera. So it is considered acting. So when you say I'm a model, a lot of the models have to do acting too. So yeah, I do. And sometimes, actually, I think last week I got an audition and I had to send a reel. And Elvis had to shoot it for me, and he had to like coach me because I had to do a couple of lines, and he was like, you're too Disney. You need to like tone it down, you know, like you're too animated, because I also host live for Disney, and so I wear a mic through the whole show and I'm speaking, and it's my own voice on top of the music, or I interact with the characters, and it's a kids show. So I'm like, everything is big, and Elvis is like, no.
It's got to be really small for the
Yes.
camera, so it's a little different.
Yes.
So, but she's super coachable, and you know, it's hard when couples try to help each other, you know, but she's great though. She trusts me. You know, I'm not hard on her. She picks up, she learns so fast, and I know how she learns, so I don't push her buttons to make her mad. So no, she does great. She picks it up so fast, and of course, either doing commercials that are not in her native language, like in English, a few little things that we work on, but then, you know, in Spanish too, I can pick up on little tendencies that she has. But yeah, just years of doing, you know, big venues where you have to be huge, and then everything right now. Yeah, so the skill set's a little different, but she picked it up and does a great job.
Oh, that's great. You have a great balance between you two. Like, you trust each other, you can work together, and you're husband and wife. That's, you know, doesn't happen to everybody.
No,
we're good,
like at the beginning when I choreographed all of his skating numbers, it was like, okay, how do we do this without having to like pick a fight and then bring it home, right? It's like, we're at the rink. If you can't do a movement, we'll change it, we fix it, we leave the frustrations on the ice, and then we're done. And then at home, we're the husband and wife, and there's no skating. And then until we go back to the ice rink tomorrow, and then he's like, I don't really like that movement, or I go, you know what, let's change the music or whatever. But we try to leave the business on the business, you know, the business on the ice, and our relationship is what we bring home. So we don't try to like overlap them, because I don't think it's gonna end up very good. Or
taking it personally, just, you know, criticisms and things like that. It's just, if she's working with me and choreographing something, and if I don't like something or something doesn't look good, she'll say something or I say something, but it's never personal. So it works really well. So we're a good team together that way, and we just keep it our work at the rink, and we come home, we talk about stuff, but it's funny, we don't bring it home with us, which is nice. We do other stuff, we talk about other things that we want to do, so it's actually a really good balance.
That's amazing. And so would you say, like, both of you are very expressive skaters, right? Like, the performance is something that is in you from always. I really admire that in skaters, because, you know, sometimes they can be so technical that nothing is going through their inside. And this is, in these interviews, I try to look for people that have that passion as well, and they bring it to whatever they do. So do you think that made you, both of you, stand out in your careers as well as your technique?
Well, at the beginning, I didn't have the artistic side. When I was younger and I was a competitor, I was very technical, and I was very flat. I was like, I'm getting it was a job, right? Like, I'm going, I'm doing my things, okay, bye. And then as I started experiencing life, and Elvis always said, the more challenges or the more experience you have in life, it's something that you can draw into your performance, because you have something to talk about or dance about or skate about, or
you relate to,
you know, you relate to, you feel the music, blah blah blah. And when you're a kid, there's not many, it's like everything is happy. So I was very down to business, and then it didn't really started blooming, or I didn't really concentrate on the performance side until I was like maybe a junior or a senior, so at the high level, where I had to go and do an international competition, and I saw the kids from all over the world, because I always saw the Mexican kids and maybe the American kids. And then when I finally was out there in the world and I got to see what was out, it was like, yeah, I think I need to bump this up. And then
work on that a little.
When I started doing shows, that's when it really embrace it. Like I had to completely embrace that side of me that I had never done before.
Well, there's more room in the shows to relax from the technical
Yeah.
part and enjoy. You know, you have the audience, and it's a practice as well, because you do shows every night, and so you start getting more.
Oh my
When
God.
you compete, you go once, train so long for one chance, and so much pressure. I can imagine.
I always said that I would have been such a better competitor if I wouldn't have back to skating, to compete skating after I'd done shows, because I learned so much that I wanted to go back and apply it, but I'm like, no, I'm done competing. So I try to teach that to my students. But yeah, there's so many things I learned that I wish I kind of knew when I was younger so I could have applied, but it's all good.
Yeah, it's different now too, because a lot of the skaters, we don't have the big tours like we used to, like Champions and Ice. I did Stars and Ice in 1993. And then 1994, I did Champions and Ice with Michelle Kwan and Brian Boitano and Gordieva Grenkov, all these incredible names. And we toured, 60, 70, 80 shows from April through the summer. And watching these people every night and having, 94 was such a big year because of the whole Olympic thing and the Nancy and Tanya situation that happened.
Oh.
Every venue was sold out. I was skating in front of, the biggest audience I think I had was like 36,000 people at the Alamo Dome in Texas, and it was huge. And night after night doing that, I became an entertainer. I understood how to connect with an audience. So I was able to take that and apply it to my competitive career now. So I was doing that while I was competing. And a lot of the skaters now don't have that chance because they don't get the big numbers like they used to in North America. In Japan, they do. But still, there's a difference in the way they skate compared to the way we skated in the 90s and early 2000s. And that's just years of being, and as you know, as a performer, it's the only way you get good at performing is getting out there. Yeah, literally doing it and being there in front of people. Because you can train it all you want. And I tell kids all the time, the way you get good at competition is competing. You've got to be in that environment, that uncomfortable environment. You have to embrace what's there, and in performing, you embrace the audience, you embrace the moment, and every night is different, and you've got to trust that the performance will be there for you, and that's the thing. It's just letting that go, and over the years, I found who I was through performing in shows, and then applied that to competition, because I was more of a warrior, very focused competitor, very dramatic in my competitions. And then later on, as I did more shows, I was able to really mix the two together. And, I'm still lucky. I still have a career of it still now at my age. And I attribute a lot of that to doing those shows throughout North America and the world.
That's amazing. Somebody's saying, come to Mexico, please.
We want to go. We actually wanted to go this June. We started planning a seminar in Mexico. And then all of this happened, and then we're gonna have to postpone. But yeah, it's in our near future plans to go and do a seminar, because we do teach a lot, but we do teach a lot of seminars. We're not coaches of like one kid only, because we're still performing and we have to travel, and I don't think it's fair to have a student and then be like, okay, you're staying on your own for 2 months because we have to go.
Yeah.
So that doesn't help, but we do a lot of helping, or no, how do you say, accessory?
It's
consulting.
Yeah, a lot of consulting work and doing seminars where we can reach a lot of kids. And then if sometimes we'll get the odd kid that comes and says, I got an issue with something, can we work on this? And we'll work privately with them, with the coach. I have friends that are, I used to skate with, that are coaches now, that say, Elvis, my skater's having trouble with double axle, and they'll come and work, and I'll work with them for a good week or two. They'll come and we'll just really work on that one element, and I can break some things down for them and have really good success. There was a little boy a couple of years ago trying to do double axle, and that's the big jump, getting into the triples. And I knew his coach. I gave him some exercises off ice. I worked with him. I skated with him, and then in a month later, boom, he got it. And I was like, no problem, awesome. So it's just a matter of we like doing consulting work that way, because you can reach more kids. And it's not
it's not a competition. We don't want your kids. We just want to help you and your kids. It's like a conjoined community thing.
I found like that's really hard in skating. There's a lot of like, this is my student, you know, it's hard to break that and work as a community. So what you're doing is really cool because it breaks that, you know, and gives everybody the opportunity to take with different coaches without having this kind of issues of competition or pushing for somebody.
So yes, expect us in Mexico soon. I don't know when though.
Yes.
Whenever this thing lifts, I don't know if this could be sooner or later.
I know. Well, I'm stuck in Argentina. I don't know when I'm gonna go. Like, so yeah, it's just a waiting game at the moment. Yeah. I want to ask you a question, because this question was sent for you guys. How do you, when both of you went to the Worlds, what did it cross your mind, like right before getting on the ice, when you get to that place that you, I guess you really hope to be there? What is the thoughts? What do you, the concentration? Are you nervous? What goes through your head right before getting on the moment to perform?
My experience is very different than Elvis.
Well, but you went to the Worlds as well, so it's not, you know, before stepping on that ice, it's the same for everybody.
Something really strange, but you know, I don't believe in coincidences. It just happened because it was meant to happen. Right before my competition, I was warming up off ice. This was like 2 days before the short program. And I was warming up off ice just by the boards, watching the block before me. And I was jumping, and there was like a little step, or the ground wasn't uneven. There goes my ankle. I roll my ankle, and I'm like, I panicked, and I didn't want to say anything, and I'm at the World, so I'm like, you shut up and you do your thing. Because I was warm, I didn't feel it, so I went and skated. But then, like a few hours after my practice, I couldn't move it. It was so stiff, and I was like, oh man. And Japan, my Worlds was in Japan, and they have, I swear, they have the best doctors. There was this doctor that was like, okay, you come to me. He like wrapped it and massaged it and put some things and stretched it and did a bunch of things. And honestly, it felt amazing. And I had my other practice, and then we kept doing this all the way till the competition. So in my brain, before stepping in, was like, if it hurts, you suck it up. Like, you're
just smile.
Like, just do not, like, it was more of, I was so worried about my ankle that it took all the worry about the people. And because I mean, it goes through your head, what happens if I fall? And I'm gonna, you know, I'm representing my country, and I want to do good, and I want to do this, and I want to do that. Pressure. Honestly, all your dreams go through you. Like, you know, when you say that your life is gonna end, and you see your life in front of you in 5 seconds. Well, that happens when you're under that lot of stress. Like, you see your parents, and you see your coaches, and you're like, oh my God, I don't want to, you know, live a bad impression, disappoint anybody. But all I could think was like, my ankle is broken.
Oh my God.
Do not fall. It was like, because maybe if you fall, you're gonna roll it even more, and then that's gonna be it. So in my brain was all about my ankle. So, but that's a very unique experience that that didn't happen in other high level competitions. But yeah, honestly, like, panic can take you over. But then I've had other experiences where I don't remember anything. Like, it was, I don't know, you're in a bubble and you're in bliss that you come out and you're like, what did I just do? Because I don't remember anything.
We talk about those things too, those moments that you skate, and then you come off and you sit there in the kiss and cry, and you don't remember what you just did. And that's actually a good thing, because it meant you were in the moment. You weren't thinking ahead, you weren't thinking behind, and then it dawns on you later. You watch it, and then it picks up. Usually you skate well when that happens. So that's a good thing. But for me, before I go out, there's
for your Worlds.
For Worlds or for any big competition, really, it's all about energy. And I was just talking with the psychologist I used to work with. He used to ask me questions, because I kind of had my stuff together, my head together. I had my own layout and plan and how I mentally prepare, even before I started working with him through martial arts. So we had a lot of conversations, because he picked my brain on a lot of things. But one thing that we always checked with is called energy management. So between a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being totally relaxed, 10 being way too high, there's a space in there that I need to be to get the job done. It's usually between 5 and 7, 6 and 7. So if I was about to step out, I've done the warm-up, I'm about to step out, the skaters just finished, they're getting off, they're getting their marks. That's usually where the heart rate starts to go up and then the energy level goes too high. And that's usually 9 times out of 10, it wreaks havoc with your normal physiology. So all about that is trying to bring myself down to a 6 or 7. And I would look up in the audience. I'd look for my parents. I'd look for something familiar, or I would just make the audience my friend instead of, oh my gosh, I'm going to freak out. No. They're here to watch. This is exciting. Just bring yourself down to a level and just breathe. And I used to do breathing techniques to bring myself down.
I was going to ask you, you live to breathing, right? To level yourself. Yeah,
totally. So it was all about in our style of Kung Fu, we call it Heigong, Qigong work or Qi. And I used to bring my energy down into my Qi, collect it, bring it all down until my heart rate calmed down and my shoulders dropped. And I wouldn't go until I was down in that spot, and I would just make sure I stayed there. So it was a little pocket of energy that would just fluctuate between 6 and 7. And if it get too high, I'd bring it back. It would never really was low. It was always trying to bring it from getting way too high. Once I was in that zone, like 99% of the time, it went well, unless if I wasn't trained or if I had an injury or something. There's a small miscalculation, but 9 times out of 10, I skated quite well, and that was my way to make it happen when it counted in competition.
Amazing. That's very interesting. Here we have Nikki saying, Elvis, your first Olympic short programs. He loved them. And there's another person saying, any consideration in writing a book on your life and experiences in skating?
Yeah, I've had interesting, funny today. Rod Black, who is a commentator in Canada, he commentates. He used to do Supercross, and he does a ton of sports, but he commentated for Canadian television for figure skating for years. I just called him up today to talk, and he's like, I'd love to write your book. It came up today just twice. Yeah, so in the future, I'd like to plan on something.
Because you have one, but it's more like...
It's a coffee table book. Yeah.
It's more like pictures.
It's more pictures and some of my philosophies and stuff like that, but a real kind of in-depth about my life and me. And I don't want to, and the one thing I don't want to do is I don't want to make it just a simple memoir of a bunch of things that happened in sequence. I want to make it different because I want to go a little bit further, a little bit deeper about me, and not just the skating, but about who I am and what, with my acting, with my racing, and with all those other things in my life and things that were very difficult that I had to deal with and all of that. And once I got rid of certain demons in my life and how that got me Gladys, love of my life, like how all of that came together. And it would be for the sports enthusiasts,
beyond the skating community, like it's something that's
human.
It applies to everything. Even what you just explained about, your level of energy and the breathing. I mean, when you're balanced, anything can go from there. Acting, kung fu, skating, swimming, whatever, because you're a unity. So that's I think it goes beyond any sport or any discipline that you do in your life. It's just a balance that you find, and from there anything comes good, right?
Exactly. So it's just and having a book where it's not just an athlete's experience, but it's a human experience through athletics. Yes. And that's what it is. It's a human experience, whether we're doing dancing, whether we're singing, whether we're going to, we work at an office. It's all human experience. And that's what I'd like to share. So it's something that, it's on the list of things to do. So we'll see when,
expect it soon.
Yeah, we'll see when we'll start to release that, and we'll find out how that goes. But yeah, it's on the plan, on the roster. Yeah.
I think now is a good moment. Maybe you can be doing some podcasts and stuff, because, this pandemic is bringing everybody to an inside look. We're all locked in, at least here. and there's nothing you can go, there's no outside at the moment, no? There's no exposure, there's nothing. It's us.
I've been trying to stay away from the social media. I know a lot of people went to social media because they couldn't get out and see their friends, and they wanted to know, how was everybody and be in contact, because it's a very good way of keeping in contact. I use it every day to talk to my family and see my sisters and, my coworkers, and it's magnificent for staying in contact. But
for a purpose.
We do not, we're like, for the longest time, we're like, we're not going to get Zoom. We're not going to do online classes. We're not going to teach O5. We're not doing it. We want to go back to normal.
Yeah, we actually,
I don't want to do this.
We unplugged. We unplugged. I actually unplugged more than her, because people were asking. I got inundated with people asking me for Zoom classes.
Interviews,
but
classes.
Mostly Zoom classes. And I just was like, it's not that I don't want to do it for the kids. I just unplugged myself from a while from technology, and I reconnected balance-wise, because we have a big piece of property here, and I started just connecting with the earth, doing more meditation, because I find right now with this turmoil, I want to look at it as a positive, and it's a positive for change, because usually major change can only happen through a crisis, through a time of upheaval, crisis, upheaval. All of this stuff happens in turmoil, being uncomfortable. All these things happen, and it's usually triggers change that people aren't ready for or want to do, or it forces them to take a look at certain things. So, with this pandemic, it allowed me to really grasp the acting and really, let my foot move off the dock and trust the ship that I'm going to go, instead of staying comfortable. Because a lot of times being comfortable is not always the best place to stay.
Yep.
With experience. So it's something that,
to grow.
It's just
to grow, you need to put yourself out there in something that is not your comfort zone. Absolutely.
Exactly.
But I agree with you about the social media. I think it has two sides. Like I am zero social media. This is a lot what I'm doing right now. I was just in Facebook, and then all these things come up, and you're like, but I found this as a way to give people that are in the same page something interesting to try to listen to, and not just scroll and like TikToks and whatever. So I think many people at the moment are like going through this. So it's exactly. So it's nice to bring content, to bring something substantial for them that can help them go through that path, through meditation, and all your stories, guys, are very inspiring. So why not just maybe thinking about doing a podcast to guide people and give them some tools to go through this moment and through life, as we were talking before.
Well, thank you for inviting us. Cheers.
Yeah. Thank you for being here. I'm so excited. Cheers. I want to know, how do you two meet? Because now that you said that all this transformation came through Gladys, I want to hear the story.
Well, I have a picture that I don't think I would ever post. We were very young. We met at a 4 continents, believe it or not.
Competition. 4 competition.
What was it, like
2001?
Oh my God. Yeah, I was 17. It was like tiny.
Yeah. We took a picture at the banquet of the competition, and then that was it.
Me being the Mexican with a camera, I was like, hey, can I take a picture with you? Hey, can I take a picture? It was more.
Can I have your autograph?
My coach would send me and be like, you are very antisocial. Go take pictures with like everybody. And I'm like, they're like, you want to take a picture with me? So then I asked Elvis to take a photo with me, and I have that photo. Oh my God.
Yeah, we met before, but it was funny when I moved to Mexico in around 01, 02. I lived there for 12 years, but when I went through all my sort of spiritual ascension and change and getting rid of certain demons in my life, and that's a whole other thing. And once, basically, it was, without being cheesy, it's about self-love and really understanding who you are. Once I got to that point, she walked in, literally. I was at a competition in Monterey looking after some kids. I was wearing shorts and a t-shirt. I looked like a hobo. I was just hanging out, and because I didn't dress up for competitions, everyone's in there dripping. I just whatever. And it was so warm still. There was
Monterrey.
so hot. It was like in April, June. It was in June. Oh my gosh, it was in June. And so we were at the competition. I was looking after some kids. I was in the lobby, and this beautiful lady walks in. She was coming off of tour. She was on a break, so she's meeting some friends, and I saw her, and I was like, I have to meet her. So within, I was busy working with the kids, and then later on I went to look for her, didn't find her. Then I just was watching the competition. I get a tap on my shoulder, and it's her. So she starts, because I didn't know if she spoke English or not or what.
I was like, you're Elvis Stojko. What you doing in Mexico?
What are you doing in my hometown? What are you doing here? You're invading. So we ended up talking, and then within like 10 minutes, I asked her out, and then the next day we spent like the whole day together. And because I said, you want to go to dinner? She says, how about tomorrow, if you have a day off, I'll take you around my whole city. And if we had a good time, then we'll have dinner.
We'll go for dinner.
Then we'll go for dinner. I'm like, fair enough. So the rest is history. I guess a year later we were married. Exactly a year later we were married. We were engaged for 3 days. I proposed to her while we were half asleep. I didn't even have a ring or anything. The next day we went and got our wedding band. She bought her dress. We eloped to Vegas. We were going to Vegas for a holiday, and I decided to just propose. So we didn't tell anybody, and we got married, and then we just sent pictures. Yeah, it was.
Everybody thought it was like, oh, this is a joke. I was like,
fake. Yeah.
We're married.
Yeah, because we were so busy. We were doing stuff together all year that there was no like pocket of time. And
because honestly, how do you plan an international wedding? Either all my family go to Canada, or all his family comes to Mexico. Somebody's not gonna get invited. Somebody's gonna be angry. Somebody's not gonna make it. So we're like, bye.
And we're very practical. Like, I'd rather spend money, and like her dad was like, yeah, just buy a car, buy a house, like
save the money,
save the money. You know what I mean? So 10 years later, it's our 10-year anniversary this year. We were planning on doing a big thing in Mexico, but of course this thing kind of killed it off.
Delayed.
Yeah, delayed it. But it was one of those things where we say we're going to have a big fiesta for a 10-year anniversary.
We had like an hacienda, and we were going to bring like 30 people from my house, and we were going to have, like have tacos and a pool and the whole
shebang. That's good.
Yeah.
Because you guys didn't do it in your wedding, so you can do it in the 10th anniversary, definitely.
Yeah. We always said one day we'll do a big party.
Yep.
But it's still one day.
Nice.
Yeah.
But then,
the day will come. The day will come.
That's great. Well, what you were saying before is true, no? When you're in peace with yourself, like the right person doesn't come, or the right opportunities don't come until you are balanced with yourself. You have to be in love with yourself, okay with yourself, and then you can love somebody else. Otherwise, whatever comes is not good.
Yeah, even during that time, I actually removed people from my life, which was very, very hard. Like, that weren't in line energetically with what I wanted. I just needed to just cut everything out and just be. Everything that was positive in my life, I kept. Everything negative that even had a little bit of negativity, I removed. And it was tough. It was really hard because it's comfortable, right? And you're scared for what's going to happen. But eventually, once I did that, my life really started changing and evolving. And I started to get a hold of my life again the way I wanted it, the way I wanted to have it laid out. And it's like self-empowerment. And then from there, it really made huge strides forward. Yeah.
Yeah, it just starts a wheel and doesn't stop. Yeah. Gladys, how are you liking Canada? How are you liking the modeling situation? Are you loving it? Tell me.
At the beginning, when we moved back in 2014, I cried a lot. I wanted to go back to Mexico. I was like, no. Well, but because in Mexico, we had an established life and we had a routine, and we knew, even your taco stand, and I knew I was going to go and buy clothes here, and I was going to go and get my like paletas there, and I was going to take the puppies for a grooming here. Like, I love having, that routine, because as you know, traveling you're always on the fly with one bag. You have a coffee in a beautiful place one day, but then you'll never be back again. So like being able to go back to the places that you really like, or, you know, having a really nice routine of getting up, having your coffee and going for a while, buying flowers, like just those little nice details make such a difference in life. That when we changed, I had to start all over again. I'm like, oh, and it took me a little bit because we moved in the summer, but by the time I kind of learned the roads, and like I had to be on Google Maps all the time because I didn't know the roads. I'm like, how do I get, the highways are different, people drive different. So by the time I kind of got used to it, it was winter. My very first, I've been in Canada in the winter before, but it's not the same living through the winter. Like you park, you go to the store, you come back, your windshield is frozen. Like, how do you deal with that? Like, how do I defrost it? How do I like scrub the ice? How do I do this? How do I do that? Like, how do I dress?
How do you drive in the snow?
How do you drive
in the snow?
She's a good driver, but
how do I breathe?
Into the parking lot, and I told her, okay, now we're gonna play with the car. I want you to, you know, get used to
stop. How much is the car moving? Like,
yeah. So just from all my years of like doing driving and, you know, biking and all that, I was like, this is the best way for you to learn in a parking lot with snow. Make mistakes, turn and feel what the vehicle feels like when it's out of control, so that you're like, oh, okay, this is no big deal, so you won't panic. But she picked it up so fast, and then
here's a Mexican with winter clothes for, I don't know, maybe like 0 degrees, thinking that I was gonna, I'm like, oh, don't worry about it, I have my winter clothes. And then jacket. And he's like, -35, your nose, like everything freezes, and we have to go shopping. I'm like, okay, my jacket is not enough, my boots are not enough, my underlayers are not, like nothing that I had was good enough for Canadian winters. And even the puppies, they were like, snow, what is this? But they loved it. They love the snow.
Yeah, they love the snow. Australian cattle dogs born in Mexico that love snow.
They love the snow.
It's just the weirdest thing ever.
But they're just your dogs. They had to be your dogs.
I don't think I know one Mexican, because every time I show my parents and my friends photos of everything white covered in snow, everybody like, oh my God, so pretty, it's beautiful. And yeah, that like magic of, you know, skating outdoors, because I kept begging them, so I'm like, take me to a pond, take me to the lake, like take me somewhere where I can skate outdoors. That was like the biggest thing in the winter. It is beautiful, but then when everything melts, like around March, and it's muddy, nope, I'm out. Like, I don't like that.
It's the ugly transition.
Yeah, right.
I love it. I mean, I'm so used to it now. Even my mom visited us a couple of years ago, and she's like, oh my God, you know, like, I drive everywhere. I know where I'm going. I have my shops. She's like,
of course, yeah.
You adapt. Good. I'm like, oh yeah.
She adapts really fast. Like, it was just for a period of time, and I promised her that, you know,
we'll figure it out.
We'll figure it out. You're gonna get.
It will be better.
Yeah, you'll get comfortable, and it was fine. We like to have another place in Mexico again one day, but until then, because of, you know, work is here and got pulled back for it. So, but we'll eventually, and I'll always have a connection for me to Mexico, because it was where I rekindled the connection to myself. Obviously, meeting Gladys there is a really spiritual place for me, where I was living, where we were living. And I'll always, it'll always be a very special place in my heart. I love the Spanish language.
My family's there, so
her family, and I love her family. Like, it's one of those things where, you know, oh, mother-in-law, mother-in-law, oh my God, I love her.
They love him too.
There was a great story.
I can imagine. And Mexico is lovable. Mexico, I worked so many times there. It's lovable, it's homey, everybody's so welcoming, it's warm, the weather, and warm, the people and the food. So I don't think anybody that has been to Mexico will say, oh, I hated it. No, that's not true.
That's good.
It has a magic to it, especially where you guys were living. That town is gorgeous, and you know that area is absolutely...
I mean, where I'm from is from Monterrey, and that's the city. It's a big city. It's a busy city.
Yes, it's totally
And then
different,
we were living 1 hour away from Guadalajara, which again, Guadalajara is a main hub.
It's
But
gorgeous.
that 1 hour away to be in the outskirts, kind of by the lake, make all the difference. Small little town, small community, beautiful. There was a lake, a freshwater lake, and then we had the mountains, and you felt like you were back in time. Like it was really nice where we lived.
Paradise every day, waking up, like it was awesome. And I mean, it was great if I didn't want to do anything because it was just great for I had a semi-retirement for the first number of years. I lived out of a suitcase. I traveled everywhere, and then that was my spot that I would just hang my hat. But I traveled 10 months out of the year, and then for a couple of years I took off completely. I backpacked. I did my own thing, and that's when I was soul searching. And then I was pulled back to skating to do some teaching. Then I got pulled back in, and then through that pulling back into skating, that's when I re-met Gladys that we didn't think about from 8 years later, 8 years before. And then slowly I got pulled back to Canada for racing go-karts, racing cars, doing acting, skating. It was weird. It was just pulling me back. And I'm like, I think I've got to listen to you have to. Yeah, it was one of those things. And the opportunities for Gladys here are even better too. Just there's a lot of other things happening, especially with her exotic look here in Toronto.
Yes. The Latin coming up, of course, because when we're in our countries, we're like one more, but then you go there, you're like, she's so special. Take 5 jobs.
This is it. Like we were when I was modeling in Mexico, they were like, we want a blue-eyed, blonde, white girl. I'm like, bye, no. Yeah. And then
it's human. It's human condition. You always want what you don't have.
Yeah.
We're 15 minutes away, and I have so many questions. So. Let's do a quick ping pong. I want to know about traveling, and then I want to ask you 3 more questions about something else, and we're done. So countries, you travel all over the world. I can imagine that, right? Do you know how many countries you've been to?
I have never counted
She's
them.
probably been to a couple
I think I've been more than him.
More because Disney traveled to more places.
You didn't see.
Yeah, we probably I'm not sure if I've hit probably more cities in the U.S. than you have.
He knows the whole U.S. I know like the main hubs, but I know more countries. Right?
Yeah, there's like very like not typical countries that I would go to compete, but she was in like those
remote
places that Disney goes, which is amazing. But yeah, like I toured everywhere in Europe, Asia. The main places in Asia, she's toured more, like going to like places even with like Egypt and stuff.
Kuala Lumpur and Cairo.
Oh, yeah. I was asking.
So, it was like amazing. Yeah.
Which one would you say is the most unusual place that skating took you to?
Like places was Cairo. It was
country,
like
city. You were saying this was weird. I never thought I was gonna be there.
I have really bad memory. Because we didn't used to have cell phones. So I had like an old camera, and a lot of my digital photos are lost. So I remember a lot through photos, but I have lost so many photos on the way. But I remember this place. We were playing High School Musical, and we were somewhere in Asia. I can't remember if it was like Malaysia, Singapore, somewhere. Don't quote me right, because I'm probably going to be wrong. There was a prince or a princess or somebody from like the royalty came and they bought out the whole show, and they brought their family, and we had like so much security. And in the show, I had to hold hands with my beautiful partner, Trey Eyre, who he used to play Troy Bolton. So it was like Gabriella and Troy, because we were High School Musical. And a lot of the scenes we had to hold hands, and at the very end we had to like kiss. So it was very strict. It's like, don't hold hands, don't kiss, don't do this, don't do that, because they're very respective in with their, I don't know if it was like religion or respect or whatever. The country that we were had its rules, so we better obey.
Intimacy,
yeah, so it was like one of those things that we adjust to wherever we go, right? To whatever the culture of that country. And that for me is one.
That's my bell. Forget about it. That's my sushi, but I told them after 9:30.
Come later.
Oh, did I lose you guys?
But yeah, that was cool.
I was like, I'm not coming down.
But yeah, that was like one really amazing memory of a remote place that I've been. And then last year I was in Mexico. The last 2 years I played the host in Mexico, the one with the mic, and I'm speaking live. And
Yeah.
I never in all my years with Disney or with any other company, well, no, with the Arena International, with Wendy Boyle, I did a lot of shows in Mexico, but never like in Mexico City at the Auditorio Nacional, which is like a beautiful, it's not an arena, it's like a proper auditorium.
Yes.
Velvet,
Amazing.
stunning. And I had to be like the host for, you know, that venue. I think that's one of my most memorable experiences because it was in Spanish. I wasn't portraying anybody. Even at the beginning, I was like, hi, I'm Gladys Orozco, your host. So I was being myself. I wasn't being anybody else. And it was in my own language. And I had my family and my friends coming to see it. And like, it's amazing how your own home can be your best experience from all over.
I have to tell you,
all over the world that I have. Yeah.
I know. Yeah, well, that happens. You know, it's a place you relate to, and the audience, anyways, in Mexico is freaking believable.
Yeah,
they're so good.
Screaming, and then part of the show is like, I can't hear you, and then they give you even more. I'm like, yeah, you feel so loud. Like, yeah, that's amazing.
I am reading, you guys. We have a million questions, so I am very sorry, but this is going to finish, and we're going to come back. And I'm going to keep asking you. I'm not letting you go because we have one of the most wonderful couple, Gladys and Elvis, kisses from Mexico.
Oh, gracias.
Micho Nice is saying, thinking about getting Kangen water. Any thoughts?
Kangen water. We do not leave the house with it. We have a machine that we travel with. It's the most amazing thing. That's like a whole other interview about health because we're a little bit of like health nuts.
We can do it.
He's a little bit of a health nut, and then he made me a health nut.
Yeah, and the water is basically the core to all of our health. I used to have really bad skin. I had cystic acne into my 30s, yada yada. I through a homeopath and people I talked to about acidity and alkalinity, which is the big thing now.
Which is the balance, but in your body.
Exactly, and I knew about this stuff 20 years ago before it was even known, and I got into this. And the water, basically within less than 2 months, drinking the water helped bring my body back to an alkaline state. It cleared my skin. And I got rid of cystic acne, which was unbelievable. And people even now look at my skin, they're like, how is that possible? You don't look like you have any. And I'd show my back where I had little bits of scarring, but my skin cleared up, and it was the most amazing thing. And then from there, just energy and lactic acid, and just there's so many other things with the machine that it does. And there's a business on the side. Like, I do it more for helping people rather than just the business, but there's a business side to it that is huge. People in the Philippines, out where they don't have really good water, you know, we've sold a number of machines in Mexico, but it's a huge business that's taken off, and it's an amazing product. So it's something that
we will
family, like the first thing we gave to our family a machine, we gave to his family a machine. We have 2 machines because we travel with one. We have one in the house, and yeah, because it's like a filtration system. And we never buy like bottled water, so we just like
so it's easy to put in your house, and we tell Marina that's a great idea. Go for it.
Yeah.
Or you know what?
Yes, go for it.
If you guys have any questions, send me, or he can't get any private messages, but you can send me whatever you want, and then like I'll send you information on an email, and then we'll go through there. Yeah,
and then we can like the machines can be sold. You have to know someone. So for us, we're distributors. If they want to buy a machine, they can go through Gladys and myself, and we can sell them anywhere on the planet. Like wherever there's a office, there's one in Mexico. They have one in the UK, and Germany's getting one. Of course, in the States, there's a couple, and in Canada, of course. So
it's connected.
Yeah, so we can just send the papers to that particular office and have it sent to them wherever they are, and it is truly amazing. Yeah, so if our people are interested, it helps through commissions. It's great. So just you can connect with Gladys through social media, and then we can hook you up.
Perfect. So guys, write to Gladys about it. That's great. What is one thing you practice daily outside of skating that assists you in being the best self?
The best self.
I know what it is.
I'm not gonna tell him.
I don't know what he doesn't.
What is it?
Affirmations.
Yeah.
It's not even like a physical exercise. It's a mental exercise.
Yeah, it's affirmations. It's it's basically self-talk. It's just using certain affirmations that I am, I have. It's not, the affirmations are already having something, already being something,
Yes.
already gone through the change. It's already obtaining that thing that you're searching for.
It's not like I want something. It's I am already. Right?
Yeah. So it's that, and it becomes eventually through those affirmations, it becomes a state of mind. I'm very cognizant during the day of my energy level. Physically is one, emotionally is another, and then also there's a spiritual side too. And I'm always aware of that throughout the day, where it dips, when it comes back up, if I'm missing a type of food, or I'm just very aware of my body so that I can get the most out of the day. Always physically working, doing stuff, every day, thinking about and imagining the place or the career or the thing that I want, that I'm already living it, that I'm already experiencing it, that I'm already immersed in it. Any type of a manifestation that you want to attract, it's a 24/7 thing. It's always there,
Convince yourself, so go out there like it's real, and it will come back real.
And if there's moments like this is a tough one for people to kind of grasp that, but people say, oh, just be positive every day and force the positive. It's almost like forcing positivity. I don't like doing that. What I do is I deal with what I'm actually feeling. So instead of like, if I feel down, I don't try to like force, okay, I got to be positive, and then I'm fighting it. I allow myself to be down.
Yeah.
I actually allow it all to come down and figure out, why is it coming from? A physical thing? Am I missing something from food? Was it an experience I had with somebody yesterday or just recently? Was it an energy link? I look through all of those things to find out what it is, and then allow myself to come back up instead of forcing the issue. And it's a big thing on social media. Oh yeah, be positive. But the problem is they're not really facing what's really there. They can try to be that way, but really you need to live it from a point of understanding how to get there naturally, to live it in. And we talked about balance. That's how you get there naturally, right? And that's something that I'm aware of on a daily basis.
That's amazing. We have another question. How was your experience in the skating in smaller tours? Thank you, Canada and Rock the Rink. Did it allow you to connect more with the audience and other skaters?
Yeah, the smaller shows are always great because it's very intimate, especially with the Thank You Canada tour after the Canadians had done so well, and Tessa and Scott were they were like the
Olympic year, and
it was huge. Yeah, we sold out, of course, in Stars on Ice, and then the Thank You Canada tour was incredible. All the smaller venues that we did, it was magical. It was just magical, and very intimate connection with the audience. I was just really honored to be a part of it because I wasn't part of that team that won, but they wanted me there because it was, a lot of the kids were like, we're skating because we watched you. And it was really neat for them, especially with Megan Duhamel and everybody. It was a really cool experience to be kind of like a bit of a ringleader, kind of the Pied Piper with these kids and passing the baton onto them. And then again last year, which was great. I was hoping that would continue, but Tess and Scott, of course, retired. But it was a great show with Rock the Rink and the Canadian fans. And I can't say just the Canadian fans because we had so many international fans fly in from everywhere, man. Like
last year there were people from Brazil, Argentina, what was it?
Everywhere from the Latin
Japan.
Japan, Latin community, tons from the States, of course, Australia, from Europe, from Italy, from Spain, from the UK, from Sweden, from you name it. And people, there was a group of people that got together on the internet, and I think a group of girls from all over the world got together and met here.
And then they
toured for a couple of the shows and stayed with us. It was very touching, very magical to have that. And, it was an amazing experience.
So much love. Hold on. We're gonna have to come back. I know you can give me a little bit more time. We hang up and we come back because they said the best place you have worked at.
The best place I have
worked at.
The best place I've worked at.
Like for a company or?
I guess like best theater or best country, maybe.
There was one really cool show that we did, but I'm not saying it was the best company or it was the best show. Maybe it was like the most intimate show that I have ever done was Blades on Stage.
Okay.
And we did it. What was the name of the theater here in the Princess of Wales?
Princess of Wales Theater
downtown.
They built,
Toronto.
yeah, they built that particular theater specifically for Miss Saigon. And they had to get the helicopter in, and they built it. So and it was the only one that they could fit the ice on. And the stage was like 40 by 50, just the ice, very small, and it was very intimate connection with the audience. And it was a really neat experience back in, I think, 2015.
It was only like 10 of us.
10 or 12 in the cast, and it was a very cool experience to do that.
We entered the back door, and we at the end we all signed like the bottom of the tables, but you could see like all the actors or the opera singers or whoever has been at that venue is like underneath the table. So we were touching ground where famous people were. Like it's amazing.
Yeah, it was really cool. Yeah.
It's amazing. Can we hang up and we come back for 15 minutes more?
Yeah.
Sure.
Well, guys, come with more questions because this is not enough. Okay, we do the same thing. I cut and then I come back.
Okay, done.
Yeah. Thank you, guys.
Hola, guys. Run away. Well, Elvis ran downstairs to just give a little treat to the doggies so they don't stop barking.
Oh, too long without you guys. They're like babies, right?
Well, it's dinner time, so they're like, if we don't feed them soon, they'll start barking.
They start talking to us, especially the oldest one. So
right.
I went down and gave them a couple of treats just to let them know we didn't forget about them.
And we gotta refill them.
Yeah, this is heavy duty stuff. It's heavy duty stuff right there.
Yes, please be careful drinking that. Yeah, don't go over.
Strawberry lemonade, organic.
I want to know, like, do you remember any funny experiences about traveling that you had either together or apart? Like you missed a plane or something happened in a trip?
I had one. This was back before we had cell phones, but they were flip phones. It was old, probably 1996. I was on tour, Champions and Ice. We have 2 tour buses, and we're going that day because it was within 4 hours of traveling. We bussed instead of flew. So I was on we called it the North American bus. The Russians were all on the other bus because they like to kind of party and do their thing. So I went out, I put my stuff on the bus, and I told my friend Jared Swallow, who was an ice dancer from the States, I said, Jared, don't let the bus leave. I'll be back in 2 seconds. I'm just going to grab a quick bite and bring it back. So I leave for literally, I was there on time, and I left maybe 7 or 8 minutes. I get back out, and the bus is gone.
I know.
And I'm like, so back then, it wasn't as easy just to call and say, hey, guys, I'm here. It wasn't like that.
No.
I was like, I can't get a hold of anybody. What the heck? Like, no one had a cell phone at the time, and it was like, it wasn't as accessible. So I was like, what do I do? So I called my agent. This was a while before they got a hold of them. They were already driving. They totally forgot about me. So they're driving, and it was like an hour and a half later. So finally they get a hold of Tom Collins and Michael Collins, the owner and the son. And they're like, well, we thought Elvis was on this bus. No, we thought he was on the other bus. And then so they talk to Jared. They go, Jared, did you forget something in St. Louis? And he's like, no, I didn't forget anything. Did you forget somebody in St. Louis? And he's like, oh my God, I forgot Elvis. So I had everything. Luckily, I had some ID on me. So I got a flight. The guy finished at the hotel. He was able to drive me to the airport. And then I flew there, and I landed like maybe 40 minutes before the show. I landed and then just boom, went on to do the show. But I got left behind.
That's a good story.
Yeah, and
your
and
friend
too, no real email wasn't really. I mean, we had dial-up, and use your cell phone. It was like $1 billion 1 minute calling it. Like it was just one of those things. it was it was an interesting experience.
Oh, that's insane. We have somebody asking you, would you want to do a musical again? I want to ask you about that. I want to ask you about Chicago because I'm a dancer and I love Chicago and I want to hear about that. How was the experience in Chicago? It was amazing. So somebody agrees with me. I want to hear about that.
I do. I learned everything because I watched every single show. I sat by the sound booth and I was like, ding, 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 ding. Like I knew I'm the backup dancer. I'm ready.
It was a great experience. I mean, I remember under pressure, I'm a pretty tough guy, like dealing with stuff. And the opening night, I was nervous. It was in Broadway. It was in Broadway, New York, and it was pretty big. I was nervous, and it was just one of those things where I was like, just jump in the water and do it. And you know, Billy Flynn, you can't come out timid. He opens up singing right away. And you've got to come down there and just own it. And I remember standing in the back doing the breathing exercises I used to do before I step out for competition. And it was weird. It was like my old self kicked in to that warrior part of me to be ready to compete and be in that place I needed to be to perform at my best. And I just did some breathing techniques. And all of a sudden, as soon as I heard the music start, it just like a switch went on and boom. And then I didn't look back. It just went. And so many great shows there. Toronto, I was nervous too. It was interesting because there was two different casts. Mm-hmm. So I had a cast in New York that have done this for a long time. That's their specific location. And then they had a touring cast. So I came back to Toronto and I had just that afternoon to learn everything with their timing. So if people know acting, if you're doing one thing and then you switch people, now you're doing the same thing, but now you're on stage acting live, and now you've got a different actor. Their timing is different, and you can actually like forget stuff.
The cues are different, so you're like
yeah. So it was really tricky. So we did like maybe 2 hours of work with everyone just to get me, and then I did the show that night. And it went amazing. And I was like, oh, it was a learning experience for me to trust that those skill set that I was working on is there. And it was such an amazing time. I mean, they were planning on doing it again. This year, there was some talk of trying to get it out again, to have me part of it, to do a Canadian run of it. So hopefully it'll happen in the future again, because it was such a great experience. And I know the character so well. So it was awesome.
I know Roxy, just in case anybody wants.
I really relate to her. You know, I've killed many people.
Sabina to be a dancer, no problem. She knows the blocks will tango. Perfect.
Yeah. I have the gates here, you know, my window. I practice every night.
Perfect.
How did you do with like the singing? Did you used to sing, or you trained specifically for Chicago?
My dad was a trained tenor, classical trained tenor. So when I was growing up, he was always singing. He taught me when I was a kid. And then I worked with a coach here. Before I even did Chicago, I was working with her. She's a singing coach here, and does classically trained stuff. But I sing anything from pop to rock to progressive metal to even opera, more classical stuff. And you know, I just prepped with her a little bit before we went, and you know, when
you auditioned though.
Yeah, auditioned for it. Yeah, they wanted me to audition. They wanted to see if I could like hold a note, and I went in and did it. The audition, they're like, yeah, you're good. And then when I showed up and I worked with the music director, she was expecting me, you know, as a skater to come in and do this. They didn't know what to expect, and then all of a sudden I started singing, and she's like, you're trained. And I'm like, yeah. No one told you? She goes, no, this is so much easier than I thought it was going to be. And I'm like, okay, tell me what you need and we'll do it. And then it was such an amazing experience.
That's incredible. Somebody's asking you, do you ever visit the Elvis Stojko Arena in Richmond Hill?
Sometimes I get ice
Do you
time
have an
there.
arena?
Yeah.
Oh my God!
I don't own it, but it's named after me. It used to be called the Observatory Arena, and then my hometown in Richmond Hill, in 1994, when I came back after winning nationals in the Worlds and was second at Olympics, they changed the name to honor me, and they named it the Elvis Stojko Arena, and it's still there to this day. So sometimes I go there and skate there, and I've had some skaters that I'll work with, and they'll be like, "Hey, Elvis, can we take a picture with you in front of your arena?" I'm like, "Well, it's not my arena, but my name's on it."
If it was my arena, everybody would be invited.
That's amazing. We have another question. Do you like France? Do you speak French, guys?
I don't speak French. I did a little bit in school. I had like the Quebecois French, which is different than Parisian French. But I loved skating in Paris, at the venue there in Bercy, and it was awesome. They have this incredible venue. It has grass on the sides of the building.
Nice.
It's wild. It's got like grass growing on the side, and this is this unbelievable venue there that we've competed many international events in France. Competed the World Championships there in 2000 in Nice, which was it was beautiful. So I have great memories there, and of course Philippe Candeloro, who is a good buddy of mine that I competed with for many years. Of course, from France, and he was
My sister lives in Paris.
Yeah, her sister lives there.
So we gotta go soon.
Yeah, we have to go and visit.
Really? I love Paris. Do you like it?
Yeah.
I like the croissants.
Yeah, she still loves croissants.
Give me the bread.
Butter croissants.
Give me the cheese.
And
the
cheese.
wine.
And the wine. I mean, they have too many nice things in that place. It's too nice. Yes. I want to ask you. Okay, I'm gonna close because it's getting very long. I will stay with you guys a long time, and I know you have to feed your dogs and you have a life. And I have to let you know. So everybody, if you want to send more questions, Gladys, Instagram is open for them, so you can keep in contact and clear more questions about the border, about anything else that you need to know. They're very lovely people and very open to give you advice with many things. I want to ask you 2 or 3 questions, and we're done. Do you both have a phrase that inspires you through harder moments or to get through every day?
I have a phrase, but it's in Spanish, and I really don't know how to put it in English, but it's not mine. It's stolen from my father. And actually, It's funny that you mention it because my father's birthday is today, 62. Happy birthday, Dad. And we all made a video because all the kids live outside of Mexico. So I'm in Canada. I have one sister in Paris, and I have one sister in Stockholm. And then Jacobo, which is my cousin, but he's like my brother. He's also with Disney on Ice, so he travels everywhere. But right now he's at home. But honestly, we're all like spread around. We decided to do like this little video with a message, and I closed the video with the quote that maybe you can help me translate in English, but it says, "Soy el resultado de un carácter fuerte y una voluntad férrea," which is like, I am the result of a very strong character and like an unbending willing, or like a unbreakable passion of doing something.
Yeah.
And this is something that my dad always kind of instilled, that we're warriors. It was like, that's the mentality kind of in my family, like there's no obstacle. So that specific phrase, every time that I'm like, not feeling so good, or simple as this, I auditioned for something and I didn't get it. You know, like I auditioned for a modeling gig, I auditioned for something and I didn't get it, and I'm like not feeling the greatest at the moment. I remember that it keeps popping in my brain, even if I don't think about it, it'll like show up on its own whenever it's needed. And soy el resultado, I am the result, de un carácter fuerte, so it's like a very strong character, y una voluntad férrea, and like an unbreakable will sort of thing.
Love it. That's very nice. Mm-hmm. And you, Elvis, do you have one?
I guess it's more of a feeling rather than it's translated over to a mental state. So whatever it is, it's like I am, and then whatever I am, you know. So it's one of those things where it goes beyond, you know, I am successful. It's embracing it fully. You know what I mean? Like it's I am the thing that I want. So whatever it is during that time, if whatever I'm focusing on during the day, if it's something I want to put more energy to, I use that as my affirmation. I will, that saying. What does inspire me though is when someone has doubt in me, and I can tell, even if they don't verbally say it in that context, but I know in between the lines, they don't believe I can become an actor. They don't believe certain things, or when they say that can't be done or you can't do that, that inspires me. That it triggers something in me to go, really? And then I go. And then it's on. Because that to me, I mean, that was something when I was a kid, they said, oh, Elvis will never make it as a skater. He can only jump and da da da. They didn't think I'd make it. And I and again, it's very similar to what Gladys's father, the unwavering willpower, this unbreakable will is really about not giving in to anything. You know, even if you fail, it doesn't matter. You just keep going until you get it. And if it really means that much to you, if it's that drive, you've just got to keep going after. You keep chipping away at it, and you will find a way to get it done. There's a way to do it. And for me, it's about that every single day. And I got to inch forward. Some days I move forward a huge step. Another day it's just a little bit. Sometimes you don't feel it towards your goal. And it's just using those words during the day and seeing how I feel, especially when I wake up in the morning. I see how I feel immediately, and I trigger, okay, how's my energy today? What can I do today? What can I accomplish? My plan for today was this. Oh, I can do this and more. You know, and I gauge that all, and that's inspiring too. When I feel good that day, that's an inspiration to me. I want to use that energy in a positive way to move something in my life or her life forward, and in our lives. And that's something that's it's always there. It's always present in my conscious.
I want you to be my coach. You should be coaching. Like inspirational talks. I'm like, yeah, I want to do that. Yeah.
Take it
Yeah. And one last question. I think that is the last one. But what do you think, both of you, this pandemic will leave for good for all of us?
I don't like to be political, and those are like very specific subjects that I never want to impose over anybody. But for us personally, we have been very lucky that we are safe. We have a place where to be. I know the government and everybody keeps saying stay home, but I understand that maybe in my own home country, there's people that cannot stay home and they have to work, and maybe they don't have a home where to go. We can have the luxury of not working for a few months because we thought ahead and had some savings, but there's some people that can't. We have no kids, but there's some people that have multiple kids. Like, so when I say that for us, it's been time to be ingrown, like our personal growth and our personal time, and we're being very private because we travel so much, that this has been so nice to be home. It had to take something this big for us to stop traveling, for us to stop working, for us to, stop running around and actually embrace being home. And it's been really healthy for our marriage, and it's been really healthy for, our puppies. And I've been really in touch with my family because, like I said, they live in different countries, and those countries are going through this process differently. Every country has the rules, and some countries are worse than others. So it has given us an opportunity to be very united as a family. But again, when I say it, for us, it's been a nucleus, like it has united us, and it has made us stronger as a couple, but I understand that not everybody is going through this, and I understand that this is going to affect people in many different ways.
Different ways.
Yeah, we don't have a job, but we can afford not having a job for a few months.
Yeah,
but,
so it will be like taking perspective how grateful we are, no? For be grateful for what you have, and like don't take things for granted. You know, having a house, having food, having your love, having your dogs, like things that you take for granted as daily.
Just having a backyard. I have we've spoken
having
to
green,
some of our friends.
I have a balcony.
They're going crazy because they're inside an apartment downtown Toronto and they can't even go to the park. And we are so lucky that we have, you know, a backyard and we have trees and we can go for a walk and we don't have to be in contact with anybody.
We don't have to answer to anyone. And I think breaking it down to really understanding this is, I learned this a while ago, is do you live to work or do you work to live? You know what I mean? So that's the thing where we were so busy and we're taking every job that came my way, every show, every seminar. Yes. And then
bag after bag.
And it was very busy from, you know, we get back in January, February, March, it's packed. Show every weekend, every week is booked. Right into Stars on Ice, right into the end of May. And then this thing hit on the 14th of March and then everything canceled. Even the rest of the whole year, we had some stuff in September. Everything canceled.
Even some seminars next year they're canceling because they don't know what's going to happen.
They don't know what's going to happen. You know, I have a feeling it'll be okay by the end of the year. But what it did was it allowed me to, like, it felt like a hamster in a wheel because I was so busy. I like to work and keep doing things. But then it kind of said, hey, reconnect and enjoy life at home. You've built this life. You have time with your wife. It's not all about the money. It's not all about, you know, all of that.
Success and ego and like I want to be out there and I want to do this and I want to be like at the top. It's like that's not everything.
Just reconnect with what really matters. And that's why I was like, you know what, I'm going to disconnect from social media for a little bit. I'll just post some things. Gladys was doing that for me, but I'm not on the phone much. I'm not on my computer much. I'm outside a lot, reconnecting with the earth, like when my dad taught me when I was a kid back in like the 70s. I grew up on a farm, and that to me, I felt really connected, and I started getting better connection to my intuition on choices and things that I want to do, so that I was getting clarity on why I'm here on this particular part and time in my life. And everything happens for a reason. The universal energies, whether you call it universal energy, the primordial ooze, God, whatever you call it, there's always a plan for there. And everyone, right now, it's affecting everyone in different ways. And it's just, you got to figure out, what can I do now? What is this making me look at? Besides, because there's the sickness that's there. It's this virus or whatever it is. But there's more to it than that. There's something specific there that's making us look at, what is important? What is the most important thing? And we're seeing that in the States with, my gosh, there's so much going on. But it's affecting big groups of people in big ways, and it's affecting small individual things. It affected me very, very personally home. And I was like, okay, I need to kind of clamp down. I've done a number of interviews, which has been great for us to talk, but it was just reconnecting with myself to help find that next step. And I'm able to do that once we get out of that. And what I love doing is expressing this to help people find their own path. And I've done that with motivational speaking and talking, and they're having trouble with their life. It's messed up. And I'm like, hey, find the core piece. And this time has allowed me to find that with her, with Gladys, with the puppies, with the house, with my life. And it's been really great. It's been, the first little bit was a little bit, of course, a little scary because it's unknown. But it didn't take long for me to hunker down and just adjust to change. I'm really actually good at adjusting on the fly when I need to. You know, if something happens, make a decision, change direction and go.
That's amazing. Guys, I love you both. I mean, the comments are like, best couple ever. You're such nice people. My favorite skater. More fire in your fire pit. Elvis has always been my favorite skater. Like this, all amazing comments. And I have to say, it has been such a wonderful moment to share with you. I could listen to both of you for 7 more hours, but nobody will. Just me. Like. Thank you so much for taking the time, for sharing with everyone your knowledge, your experiences, your good hearts, and all the love that you carry with you. Thank you for taking care of so many doggies that we didn't have time to talk about. I'm an animal fan, and you both do so much work about that. So thank you for all of us for putting your time and your love into that. And let's do a cheers.
Yes.
Salud!
Salud!
Thank you for having us.
Yes.
This was a fantastic little time, and it felt more like a personal, intimate chat than like, you know, a grilling interview where it's like,
Well, that's the idea. That's the idea, you know, to create a space that is relaxed for all of us in this moment, that we can truly go through what we're feeling, we can put out there to help everybody and to bring some nice pleasure time for everyone that is putting the time to watch it. So thank you so much for being here tonight.
Thanks for everybody watching. I kind of read Emilia is there, Fernando is there, Monica is there. Like I recognize a couple of the names.
Yeah.
Hi everyone.
Thank you. It's been amazing. Yeah, we have lots of people. I couldn't ask all the questions. I'm so sorry because we need like 7 hours. But thank you so much.
It's all good.
Gracias. Wonderful weekend.
Bye guys. Cheers.
Bye. Thank you very much. And so we stay a little bit more to thank them again for their time, for their hearts, for everything in this little hour and a half. And, you know, I admire them. I wish we could all work on what he said and what she said about, you know, focus and what you want this time that we're going through. Connect with the roots, connect with yourself, and that will bring you whatever is meant to be. So thanks, everybody. Have a great night. Thanks for joining again. And I had a wonderful time, like always. Cheers.